Alright, subpart C, specific requirements, area 1, passenger equipment, scope of the alternative compliance scope, the scope of the state the requirement of the railroad passenger equipment, the operating speed does not exceed 125 miles per hour, stay within the statute 238, 229. All such passenger equipment that remains equipment and subject to the safety applying with the requirements contained with the federal state statute, with 49 U.S. Code 203, with the federal regulations 231 and 232, with the chapter unless otherwise specified with the requirements only apply with the passenger equipment ordered on and after September 8, 2000, and placed within service the first time and on and after September 9, 2002. Structural standards of this subpart of the 238-203 structural strength, 238-205 anti-climbing mechanism, the 238-207. Linking between the coupled mechanism and the car body forward facing with the structure of the 238-209 forward facing with the structure of the locomotive, 238-211 the collision post, 238-213 corner post, 238-215 roller over strength, 228-217 side structure, 238-219 truck to car body attachment, and 238-223 locomotive fuel tanks do not apply with the passenger equipment if exclusively on the railway line, if with no public highway railway grade crossing on which the federal operation occurred at any time, which only the passenger equipment with compatible with the design is utilized on which the trains are operating with a exceeding speed 79 miles an hour. Each of the passenger equipment remains subject to the requirements of statute 229-141 of this chapter is applicable to alternatives to compliance with the passenger equipment. The special design shall be deemed to comply with the subpart of the other than 238-303 with the surface environment of which the petition of the proposed of the operative equipment after the associated administrative safety determines the paragraph C of this section of the equipment provided at least equivalent level of safety environmental with respect to the protection of the occupant for the serious injury in the case of the derailment of the collision and make of the determination under paragraph C, but the associated administration shall consider the whole as all elements for the casual prevention, mitigation, relevant to the integrity of the equipment, the draft of the requirement of the subpart. The associated administrator only make the finding of the equivalent and complying with the subpart with other than 238-203 based upon the submission of the data and the analysis sufficient to support the determination of the permanent petition shall include the information required in 238-21. Information included details, drawings, material specifications sufficient to describe the actual construction equipment and special and design, engineering and analysis sufficient to describe the likely performance of the equipment, derailment, collision scenarios pertaining to the safety requirements of the compliance required with which for the equipment it does not conform to the specific requirements of the subpart. For equivalent quantitative the risk assessment in court of the design information engineers analysis and described in the paragraph to demonstrate that the equipment is utilized in the surface environmental which of the recognition of the presence is no greater hazard of serious personal injury than the equipment that conforms to the specific requirements of this part. Any petition made under the paragraph is the subject of the procedure set forth in statute 238-21 will be disposed in accordance with the 238-21G. Alright, 238-203 static and end strength. Except for the further specified in paragraph or in paragraph D of the after the November 8, 1999, all the passengers shall lift the minimum static end load of 800,000 pounds applied with the line of the draft without permanent deformation of the body structure. The passenger car for the locomotive the static strength of the unoccupied volumes must be less than 800,000 pounds if each energy absorbent structure of the part of the crash engineering management design of the passenger locomotive, the passenger car locomotive resists the minimum static electrical load of static end load of this 800,000 pounds applied with the line with the draft ends for the occupied volume without permitting deformation of the body structure for locomotive placed in the survivor of the November 8, 1990. The alternative resisting minimum static load was of 800,000 pounds applied on the line draft without permanent deformation of the body structure. The locomotive shall resist the horizontal load of 1 million pounds applied along the horizontal longitudinal center line of the locomotive at this point with the buffer beam with the construction 12 inches above the center of in the line of the draft without permanent deformation of the body structure. The application of the load shall not be distributed over an average greater than 6 inches by 24 inches. The alternative specified in the paragraph is not applicable to the cable car, or multiple unit locomotive. The requirements for this paragraph does not apply with the private car, unoccupied passenger equipment that operating at the rear of the passenger train with the passenger equipment that placed within the surface of the November 8, 1999, presumed to comply with the requirements of paragraph A1 of the section. Left for the railroad operating equipment with the knowledge of the apparatus shown that the passenger equipment will not be built with the requirement of the specified in paragraph A1 with the overload of the compression body structure of the passenger equipment. It shall be designed to the maximum extent possible to inflow back with the buckling and crushing of the bolt in the structural member rather than being the fracture of the structural member with the failure of the structural connections. Grandfathering non-compliant equipment that is used for the specified rail lines or lines gathering grandfathering apply with equipment is line specific grandfathering approval to non-compliant with equipment under this paragraph is limited to usage of the equipment In particular, rail line or lines with the grandfather equipment can be used within another line. Rail line, the railroad must file with a secure approval of the grandfather petition of the paragraph of the of this section. Temporary use of the non-compliant equipment, the passenger equipment placed in the surface of the rail line lines before number 8, 1999 does not comply with the requirements of paragraph A1 and then continue with the operation of the particular line, those of the particular line of the operator seeking the equipment filed with the petition seeking the grandfather approval under paragraph D3 of the before the number 8, 1999 usage may continue with the petition with the process of the no even later with the May 8, 2000, unless the petition is approved. The petition for the grandfather petition with the grandfathering should include the name, title, and address, the telephone number by the primary reason, the contact with the response to the petition, information including details drawing the material specifications sufficient to describe the actual construction of the equipment. 1 and 2, 3, the engine analysis sufficient to describe likely performance, statistical, static and strength of the equipment, the likely performance of the equipment of the realm of the collision and scenarios that pertain to the equipment, static and strength. The description of the risk management measurement will be encouraged employed with the connection with the usage of the employed equipment with the specified rail line of lines that agrees with the likelihood of accidents involved in the use of the equipment, the quantity of the risk assessment incorporating the design information engineering and analysis of the risk mitigation measures described in the paragraph demonstrated that the use of the equipment has utilized service environment which with the recognition of the sought with the public interest and consistent with the railroad safety. Service each petition shall be submitted with the Associated Administrator with the safety for the FRA and Railroad Administration 1200 New Jersey Avenue Southeast Wales Stop 25 Washington DC 20590. Federal Register notice for the FRA will the publish the notice of the Federal Register concerning each of the petition under the paragraph D of the section commandment that no later than 30 days after the day of the publication notice of the Federal Register concerning the petition under paragraph D of this section any person may comment each petition each comment shall be set forth and specifically the basis upon which it is made with the contained with a concise statement with the interest of the commentator of providing the proceeding. Each comment shall be submitted with each of the Department, U.S. Department of Transportation docket operation M30 with the West Building, ground floor with the W12 B140 of 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. 20590 with the contained with the assigned docket number to be proceeded in the form of the submission to be written in electronic form documents with the standards and the requirements established for the Federal Docket Management System postcard and posted on the website with the www.regulations.gov. Disposition petition if the administrator finds that essentially the desirable the FRA will conduct the hearing on the petition in accordance with the procedure provided in the statute 211-225 of the chapter. If the FRA finds the petition complying with the requirements of the section proposed use for the public interest consistent with the railroad safety, the petition will be granted normally within 90 days after the receipt. The petition is neither granted nor denied within 90 days. The petition remains the pending of the decision of the FRA may attach to the special condition of approval of the petition. Following the approval of the petition, the FRA may reopen consideration for the cause stated. If the FRA finds the petition does not comply with the requirements of the section of the proposed usage of the public interest of the consideration of the railroad safety of the petition with denied normally within 90 days of the receipt, the FRA will grant if it denies the petition reopen the consideration of the petition with a written notice sent to the petitioner or the interested party. 238-205 anti-climbing mechanism. As provided with the paragraph B of the section, all passenger equipment placed in the surface for the first time and after the September 8th of 2000, March 9, 2010 may also have both in the forward and rear end of the anti-climbing mechanism capable of resisting upward and downward forces of the 100,000 pounds without failure. All passenger equipment placed in the surface for the first time on and after March 9, 2010 shall have both the forward and rear end of the anti-climbing mechanism capable of resisting upward and downward vertical force of the 100,000 pounds without permanent deformation with a coupled together with any combination to join two vehicles, the AR Type H and Type F of the tight-like coupler safety satisfy the requirements of the paragraph A, but the B, except for the cab car with the multiple locomotives, each locomotive ordered in after September 8, 2000, placed in the surface for the first time on and after September 9, 2002, shall have the anti-climbing mechanism forwarded and of the capable of resisting upward or downward vertical force of 200,000 pounds without failure with the locomotives required for the construction in accordance with the subpart D of the part 229 of this chapter will shall have the anti-climbing mechanism compliance with the 229-206 of this chapter and live with the requirements of the paragraph. 238-207 link between the coupling mechanism and car body. All passengers equipped with the place and for the first time after September 8, 2000 shall have the coupler carrier with each of any of the design to resist a vertical downward thrust with the coupler shake with 100,000 pounds of any with a normal horizontal position with the coupler without permanent deformation of the passenger equipment that is connected with the articulated joints comply with the requirements of such a passenger equipment is called to comply with the requirements in section statute 238-209 front end infrastructure for the locomotive including cab cars and multiple unit locomotives can cover them forward to end of each of the locomotives including cab car multiple unit locomotives equivalent with 1.5 inch steel plate with a yield strength of 25,000 pounds per square inch material with the highest yield strength to be used and decrease the required thickness for the material provided at least the equivalent level of strength that is maintained designed to inhibit the entry of the fluids and occupied with a cab area with equipment that fixed for the collision post of the other main vertical statement structural member with the forward end structure that adds the strength of the end structure. As used in paragraph A, with the term skin does not include the forward facing with the window, the door, the forward end of the structure of the cab car, the multiple unit locomotive may comply with the requirements of the appendix F, with the depart with the loop, with the requirements of either the 238-211 collision post, with the 238-213 with the corner post, to provide with the instruction of the design to protect the occupied volume of the from its full height with the, through the underframe of the anti-telescoping plate and its used roof rails. Collision post. The except with the 238-211 collision post. Except with the first specified in paragraph D of the C of the section 238-209P with all the passengers equipped with the place in the surface for the first time on and after the September 2008, September 8, 2000 shall either have the total full height collision post located at approximately 1/3 of the point laterally each of the collision post they shall have the ultimate longitudinal strength and shear strength of not less than 300,000 pounds at the point even with the top of the underframe of the member to which the attached reinforcement is used to provide the shear of the value of the reinforcement shall have the full value with the distance of 18 inches of the underframe connection with the taper of the point with the approximately 30 inches above the underframe with the connection and equivalent instruction with the same the sum of the forces of each collision post with the paragraph A11 with the section is required with the withstand for the analysis for the purpose required for the force of may be assumed with the evenly distributed at each end with the structure of the underframe. The requirements of the paragraph do not apply with the unoccupied passenger equipment operating with the passenger train with the rear end of the locomotive the end of it is occupied with the design. Except for the locomotive that is constructed after January 1st, 2009, except with the subpart D with the statute 229 for the chapter locomotive, including the cab car with the multiple unit locomotive ordered in through September 8th, 2000, placed in the ad interpreted for the first time after the September 9th, 2002, shall have its forward end with the loop with the structural with the protection described in paragraph A with the section 124 collision post located with approximately 1/3 of the points, each capable of withstanding 500,000 pounds of longitudinal force at the point with even the top of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength of the joint, the 200-pound with the longitudinal force with the 300 inches above the joint with the post of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength. 2. An equivalent structure that can withstand the sum of the force of each of the collision post with the paragraph B1 section that is required to withstand C1 each of the cab of the multiple unit locomotive ordered and after May 10th of 2010 placed in service for the first time and after March 8th, 2012 shall have at the forward end of the loop of the structural protection described in paragraph A and B with the section 2 forward collision post located approximately 1/3 point of the laterally meeting the requirements set forth in the paragraph C2 and C3 of this section. Each collision post acting together with the supporting car body shall be capable of withstanding the following loads if individually applied with the angle of within 15 degrees of longitudinal axis. 500,000 pounds of horizontal force applied with a potential event with the top of the underframe with exceeding the ultimate strength of either the post or supporting car body structure. 200,000 pound horizontal force applied to a point of 30 inches above the top of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength without either the post or the supporting car body structure. And 60,000 pounds horizontal force at any height along the post above the top of the underframe with the one permanent deformation of either the post or the supporting car body structure prior to during the structural deformation. Each collision post acting together supporting the car body structure capable of absorbing the minimum of 135,000 foot-pounds of the injury or 1.8 megajoules with no more than 10 inches of the longitudinal permanent deformation from the into the occupied volume in accordance with the following. The collision post they shall be loaded with the longitudinal height of 30 inches at the top of the underframe. The load should be applied with the fixture and equivalent having with the width of a sufficient distributed load directly with the webs of the post, but no more than 36 inches either the flat plate of the height of the 6 inches or a B of the curved surface of the diameter no more than 40 inches. If there is no complete separation from the post in connection with the underframe, the connection with either the foot structure or the anti-telescoping plate, if used as supporting car body structure, the end of the structural requirement of the section apply for only the end of the semi-permanently coupled consisting articulated units provided with the railroad submit to the FRA under the procedures specified in 238 through 21 document of the engineering analysis established for the articulated connection capable of preventing the disengagement of the telescope in the same example the equipment is satisfying the anti-telescope climbing with a collision post for the requirements contained with the subpart and 2. The finding of the FRA finds analysis persuasive. 238-213 corner post, except for the further specified in paragraph B and C with the section 238-209, each of the passenger car shall have each end of the car placed ahead with the occupied volume 2 full height with the corner post, each with the capable of resisting together and support the car body structure. 150,000 pounds of the horizontal force applied with the point, even with the top of the underframe, without exceeding the ultimate strength of either the post for the supporting car body structure. A 20,000 pound horizontal force applied with the potential attachment of the roof structure with exceeding the ultimate strength of either the port with the supporting body structure. structure, 300,000 pound, 30,000 pounds with the horizontal force applied with the point of the 18 inches above the top of the underframe without the permanent deformation in either the post for the supporting hard body structure for the purpose of the aircraft A, the orientation applied with the horizontal force for the shale range for the longitudinal inward or lateral inward. B1, except for this provided in paragraph BC and paragraph C, each for the section, each for the cab of the multiple unit locomotive ordered on and after May 10th, 2010, placed in the ship for the first time and after March 8th, 2012, shall have its own forward end in lieu with the structural protection described in paragraph A of the section 2 corner post with the head with the occupied volume leading all the requirements set forth in B2 and the B3 of this section. Each corner pair is supposed to action together without supporting car body structures should be capable with withstanding following loads of an individual is applied with the inside and toward the inside of the vehicle and all angles of the range for the longitude of lateral 300,000 pounds horizontal vertical to the side with the point of the top of the underframe without the exceeding ultimate strength of either the post of the supporting car body structure. 2. At low 100,000 pounds of the horizontal force of the point of the 18 inches above the top of the underframe without the impermanent deformation either post of supporting car body structure. A 45,000 pound horizontal force of the applied with the height of along the post above the top of the underframe without any other permanent deformation either post of the supporting car body structure. Prior to during the structural deformation, each corner post acting together with the supporting the car body structure of the B shall be capable of absorbing a minimum of 120,000 foot-pounds of energy or 1.16 megajoules for the no more than 10 inches of the longitudinal permanent deformation if the occupied volume in accordance with the following. The corner post must be loaded longitudinally height of 30 inches above the top of the underframe. The load shall be applied with a fixture and equivalent half of the width with sufficient to the distributed load directly with the webs of the post no more than 36 inches for either. A flat plate with the weight height of the 6 inches of the covered surface, the diameter no more than 40 inches, for there shall be no complete separation of the post in connection with the underframe of the connection, either of the roof structure for the anti-telescope of the plate with no and if the support with the car of the body structure. Each cab then car with the multiple unit locomotive ordered on and after May 10th, 2000, placed in the surface of the first time after March 8th, 2012, utilizing low-level passenger boarding on the operating side of the cab shall meet the corner post requirements of the aircraft B with the section corner of the post of the side of the cab containing the control stand in lieu with the requirements of the aircraft B with the section. After I reviewed the approval of the plan, including the acceptance to evaluate the compliance with the paragraph C, each cab car and multiple unit locomotive having 2 corner posts with the opposite non-operating with the side of the cab with the control standard meeting and all the requirements set forth in C2 through C4. 2. On the corner post shall be located ahead of the step well acting together with supporting the car body structure that shall be capable of withstanding the following horizontal loads individually applied with the inside of the vehicle. 150,000 pounds of longitudinal force applied at the point even with the top of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength of either the post or the supporting car body structure. 30,000 pounds of longitudinal force applied with the 18 inches above the top of the underframe without permanent deformation either to the post or the supporting car body structure. 30,000 pound longitudinal force applied with the point of the attachment roof structure without permanent deformation either the post or in support car body structure. 20,000 pounds longitudinal force applied with the height of along with the post above the top of the underframe within one out permanent deformation with either the post or the supporting car body structure. 300,000 pounds lateral force applied with the point even with the top of the underframe without exceeding ultimate strength with either the post or supporting car body structure. And 6. 100,000 pounds of lateral force applied with the point of the 18 inches above the top of the underframe without permanent deformation either post for the supporting car body structure. 7. 45,000 pounds of lateral applied with any height along the post above the top underframe without permanent deformation with either the post and supporting car body structure. The second corner post shall also be located behind the step of the well. Acting together, supporting car body structure shall be capable of withstanding the following horizontal load individually applied inside of the vehicle. 300,000 pounds longitudinal force applied even with the top of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength either the post or supporting car body structure. 100,000 pound longitudinal force applied with the point of 18 inches above the top of the underframe without permanent deformation either the post or supporting car body structure. 45,000 pounds of longitudinal force applied with the height of along the post above the top of the underframe without permanent deformation either post or the supporting car body structure. 4. 100,000 pounds of lateral force at the point of the top of the underframe without exceeding the ultimate strength of either the post or the supporting car body structure. 5. 330,000 pound lateral force point with about 18 inches above the top of the frame without permanent deformation either of the post or its supporting car body structure. Alright, 6. And 220,000 pounds lateral force applied with the height of along the post below the top of the frame without permanent deformation either to the post or supporting car body structure. Prior to during the structural deformation of the two posts combination acting together with the supporting body structure shall capable of absorbing a minimum of 120,000 foot-pounds of energy or 16.16 megajoules in accordance with the following. The corner post should be loaded with the longitudinal height of the 30 inches above the top of the underframe. The load should be applied with a fixture of an equivalent half of the width sufficient to distribute the load directly with the webs of the post, but no more than 36 inches either. A flat plate height of 6 inches that be a covered surface of the diameter no more than 48 inches of the corner shall be post located between the step well have no more than 10 inches of longitudinal permanent deformation. There shall be no complete separation for the corner post located between the step well and the connection underframe. The connection with either the roof structure, anti-telescoping, and plate if used in supporting car body structure of the corner. Post head the step well permitted with the fail of the graphic description for and for the cab car multiple unit locomotive utilizing the low level passenger boarding with the non-operating side of the cab and provided in figure 1 with the subpart C of this part. 238, 215 rolled over string. Each passenger car shall be designed to rest in on side with the uniformly supported on top of the roof of the rail with the bottom of the cord side so with the side frame with the mid level, the intermediate floor level allowable to stress and structural members occupied volumes. Further conditions shall be 1/2 of the yield, 1/2 of the critical buckling stress, whichever is less local yielding to the outer skin of the passenger car is allowed to provide with the resulting deformations no way to intrude upon the occupied volume of the car. Each passenger car shall have the design to rest on the roof of any of the damage occupied within is limited with the roof sheeting and the framing. Other than roof sheeting and the framing, the allowable stress in the structural member of the occupied volume of the condition shall be 1/2 of the yield and 1/2 of the critical buckling stress, whichever is left. The deformation of the roofing sheething framing is allowed of the extent of the necessary to permit the vehicle to be supported directly over the top cords of the same frame, side frames, and end frames. Alright, 238, 217. Side structure. Each of the passengers comply with the following side post with the corner brace for the modifier with girder, semi-monocoque, monocoque, truss construction. Some of the secondary moduli instruction about longitudinal axis of the vehicle with the weakness for the horizontal section between the side itself and the side plate with almost pilot post for the braces. Each of the side of the car located between the body of the corners also should not be less than 3/10 multiplied in the distance between the center of the end panel of the modified girder of the semi-monocoque construction. Only so with the some section moduli in the inches about with the transverse axis taking the weakest horizontal section with the side sill. And the side plate with all the posts of the brace of the pier panels to the extent available to each side of the car located between the body of the corner post and not less than 2/10 the multiply of the distance of the between the center plate, center and end panels. The center end panel is a point midway between the center of the body corner post and the center of the adjacent side post. Therefore, the minimum section of the moduli with thickness specified and pick up the A of the section just for the proportion of the ratio yield the strength material to the middle of the open heart seal of the car was whose structural members are made with a high strength steel. Sheeting, outside sheeting of the mid with a mild open heart seal with the woods used without the reinforcement out of the side post of the side frame modified with a girder with the semi-monocoque construction shall not be less than 1/8 of an inch nominal with the other middle to be used the thickness of the inverse with the proportion with the yield strengths. Outside middle sheathing less than 1/8 of an inch thickness should be used with only with reinforced to produce the least equivalent section in all areas. The right angle of the reinforcement with the flat sheathing specified in paragraph B1 of the section. When the sheathing of the truss and construction is served with no loading carrying function, the minimum thickness of the sheeting shall not be less than 40% of the specified paragraphs in B1 of the section. 238, 219, truck car body structure attachment. Truck to car body attachment. Passenger cars equipped with shall have the truck bar car to car body attachment with the ultimate strength of the sufficient to resist without the failure of the following individual applied blows. 2G vertical on the mass of the truck of the 250,000 pounds in horizontal direction with the truck along with the resulting vertical reaction of the load. For the purpose of that section, the most mass of the trucks include the axle, wheel bearings, the truck mount of the brake system, suspension system, components, and any other component attached to the truck by design. Alright, 238, 221, glazing. Passenger equipment that shall be complied with the applicable safety glazing standards in part 223 with the chapter that is required within by this part. Each exterior window of the locomotive cab of the passenger car shall remain in place for the subject to the force of the described in part 223 of this chapter, to the force of the due of the air pressure for the difference of the car with the two trains path with the minimum separation in two adjacent tracks with the travel the opposite direction each with the train traveling at a maximum authorized speed. 223, 238, 222, 3. Locomotive fuel tanks. Locomotive fuel tanks should comply with either of the following industrial standard provided with the least with equivalent level of safety and approval of the FAA under the statute 238-21. External fuel tanks. External locomotive fuel tanks should comply with the requirements contained in the appendix E of this part. Internal fuel tanks. Internal locomotive fuel tanks should be positioned with the manner to reduce the likelihood of accident and penetration from the front of the roadway, debris, and collision. Interior fuel tank of the van with a system which shall be designed that they do not become the path of the fuel loss of the any tank with a corporation due to the locomotive or returning. Internal fuel tank of bulkhead skin shall also be the minimal equivalent of 5/16 of an inch thick steel plate with a yield strength of 285,000 pounds square inch. Material at higher yield strength may be used with a decrease in the required thickness of the material provided at least equivalent level of strength maintained in skid plates is not required. Alright, 238, 225 electrical system. A passenger equipment that shall comply with the following conductors. The conductor size shall be selected with the base for the current carrying capacity, the mechanical strength with the temperature flexibility requirements, maximum allowable voltage drop. Carrying the current carrying capacity shall be derated from the grouping the operating temperature of the main battery system. The main battery component shall be isolated with the cab passenger with the exceeding of the area of the non-combustible barrier. Battery charger shall be designed to protect against overcharging, and if the batteries are a type of the potentially vent with an explosive gas, the battery compartment that shall be adequately ventilated to prevent accumulation of the explosive concentration of these gases. Power deception of resistors. Power dissipating resistors shall be adequately ventilated to prevent overheating under the worst case of the operating conditions determined by the railroad. Power dissipating grids shall be designed and installed with the isolated prevention combustion. Resistor elements shall also be electronically insulated with the resistor frame, but the frames shall be electrically insulated with the support to hold them. Electromagnetic interference capability. Operating railroads shall include with the electromagnetic capability with the safety critical equipment system. The environmental electromagnetic capability may achieve through the equipment design charged with the operating environment. The electronic equipment shall not produce electronic noise that affects for the safe performance of train line control and communication for the sideway signals which again the electronic interferes with the commission with the suppression of the train transit shall be sourced whenever possible. All electronic equipment shall be self-propelled to self-protect from the damage of the improper operation, both due to the voltage transit, long-term over voltage, under the voltage conditioning, and conclude the protection of both the power frequency harmonic of the efforts of which also protect the radio frequency signal with the microwave frequency range. 238, 227 suspension system. On and after November 8, 1999, all passenger equipment shall exhibit the freedom of the truck hunting at all the operating speeds. If the truck hunting does not occur, the railroad should immediately take appropriate action to prevent the derailment. The truck hunting is defined in Statute 213.333. Of this chapter, nothing in this section shall affect the requirements of the track, the safety standard of this part. In Part 213, with the chapter that apply with the passenger equipment that provided with this part, in particular with the pre-revenue service qualification passenger equipment that with the service speed of greater than 90 miles an hour at any curving speed, producing more than 5 inches of the can deficiency, demonstrating safe with operating and prevent pre-revenue service qualification in accordance with the Statute 213.345 of the chapter and subject to requirements for either 213.57 and 213.329 with the chapter app appropriately. Revenue service operation. On passenger equipment, they intend the service as speed greater than 90 miles per hour at the curve of the speed, producing more than 5 inches of the can deficiency subject with the requirements of 213.333 of the chapter, 213.57 and 213.329 of this chapter as appropriate. Alright, 238, 229, safety appliance general. Except the provided with this part, all passenger equipment continue with the subject of safety appliance with requirements contained in the federal statute of the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code, Chapter 203 with the federal regulations, and Part 231 with the chapter. Subject provided in this part, the FRA interprets the provision of the Part 231 with the chapter expressly mandate with the manual of the application for the safety appliance with the bolt, rivets, and screw with the meaning for the safety appliance and related bracket support. You've been attached to safety appliance to equipment shall be the affixed with the equipment specifically with the FRA approved rope is used the welding as method attachment to any of the such safety appliance to the related bracket and support. A, the safety appliance bracket support means the component of the part attached to the equipment was solely for the purpose of securing and attaching of the safety appliance. The apparatus does not weld an attachment to brace and stiffness, either used in connection with the measurement mechanically fastened safely appliance in order to conserve the brace and stiffener component of the part, but it shall not necessary for the detachment of the safety appliance with the equipment that usually solely provide external strength of the steadiness of the safety appliance. Welding safety appliances. Passenger equipment placed in service prior to January 1st, 2007. This is equipped with safety appliances required with the manner of application provision of the Part 231 of the chapter be attached for the mechanical fastener of the bolts and rivets and screw for the end of the safety appliance mechanically fastened to the back of the support with the attached with the equipment. The welding may continue with the use of the service provided. All of the requirements of paragraph E through K of the section are met with the weld with the safety appliance of the bracket. Support only needs to be received initial visual inspection required with the paragraph G1 of the section. Also following conditions are met. The 1. The weld to safety appliance bracket supports meets all of the conditions contained in 238 through 30B1 of the being considered with the being part of the car body. The welding safety appliance of the bracket support does not contain any defect of defining of the part D of the section. 3. A railroad submitted the written of the FRA identifying each of the piece for the passenger equipment equipped with the weld to safety appliance of the bracket and support with the described in paragraph C11 and C12 with the section provided with the description specific safety appliance of the bracket support. Passenger equipment placed in the surface of the fire with the January 1st, 2007 is equipped with the safety appliance with the directly attached with the equipment, the welding, no mechanical fastening of any kind shall be considered the defective immediately handled to repair with pursuant the requirements of Statute 213 117A. The use unless the railroad meets the following The FRA was submitted the written list for the FRA and identified with each of the pieces of the passenger equipment that were equipped with the welding safety appliance described in paragraph C2 of the section provided with the descriptive safety appliance and the involved safety appliance and such equipment inspected for the handle and presumed the requirements contained in paragraph G through K of the section. Defective welded safety appliance with the welded safety appliance bracket and support with the passenger equipment with the welded safety appliance with the welded safety appliance bracket the support will be considered defective. It should be handled in accordance with the statute 238-17E of any of the portion of the welded contained with the defect that any repairs made to such equipment should be in accordance with the inspection plan required with the paragraph G of the section with the remedial action identified with the paragraph J of the section. Defect for the purpose of the section means a cracker fracture and of the visibility discerned with the length of the width approximately civil penalty improperly using the hauling piece of equipment with defective welded safety appliance with the safety appliance bracket support addressed with the section will be addressed and the section be addressed and properly applied with the safety appliance pursuant to the penalty schedule contained in Appendix A of the Part 231 chapter of this appropriate defective contained in therein. R.E. Identification for the equipment. The railroad should submit the written list for the FRA with identified with each of the pieces of the passenger equipment with the welded safety appliance with the bracket the support for the January 1st, 2007. The passenger equipment placed in the service of the January 1st, 2007, but not discovered until the January 1st, 2007. Shall be immediately added to the railroad's written list that shall be immediately inspected with accordance with the paragraph G and K of the section and the written submitted with the railroad shall contain the following: the equipment number, the equipment type of the safety appliance with the brackets and support affected. For any of the equipment, any of the specifics applying with the brackets with the supports of the equipment that will not be subject to the inspection plan requirement in the paragraph G of the section of the detailed explanation for some of the exclusion recommended in paragraph E4 of the section. F. The FRA Associated Administrative Safety reserves the right to disapprove of the exclusion recommended with the railroad. Paragraph C2, 1, and D4 of the section will provide the written notification of the railroad of such determination. G. Inspection plan. If the railroad adopted to comply with the submit with the FRA upon request written safety appliance for the inspection at the minimum of the plan shall include the following: one, except for the provided with paragraph C1 of the section, initial visual inspection with 1 year with the day of the publication, periodic reinspection intervals do not exceed 6 years. Of each of the welded safety appliance with the bracket support identified with the paragraph E of the section. The significant assembly of the car necessary for the visual inspection involved with the safety appliance with the bracket support with the initial visual inspection may be conducted with the equipment of the first periodic equipment maintenance interval pursuant to statute 238-309 occurring with January 1st, 2007. To define the person who conduct the initial periodic inspection of the training of these individuals required to receive according with the criteria contained with the paragraph H of the section, identifying the specific procedure for the criteria with conducting the initial with the periodic safety appliance with the inspection in accordance with the requirements of the critical criteria contained with the paragraph I of the section, identifying where and when and what type of the potential repair of the potential remedial action will be required with any defective welded safety appliance with the bracket support discovered during the initial periodic safety appliance inspection, according to paragraph J of the section. F5. Identifying the records will be maintained with related to the initial periodic safety appliance if this inspection accordance with the requirements contained in paragraph K of this section. H. Inspection personnel. Initial periodic safety appliance inspection shall be performed and the individuals properly trained, qualified and identified defective welding condition. The medium of these personnel include a qualified maintenance personnel or QMP with at least 4 hours of the training specific identification of the welding defects of the railroad welding inspection procedure. Current certified welding inspector CWI is pursuant to the American Welding Society AWSC QC1 standard with AWS certification welding inspector 1996 and current with the revised equivalent. 3. A person possessing a current Canadian Welding Bureau certification pursuant to the Canadian Standards Association Standard W59 2003 with the current revised equivalent. 4. A person possessing the current Level 2 and Level 3 Visual Inspector certification for the American Society of Non-Destructive Testing pursuant to the recommendation practice SNTTC 1A Personal Qualification Certification for Non-Destructive Testing 2001 or its current revised equivalent. 5. A person possessing current with a certification of any of the national initially recognized welding qualifications and with the equivalent of those identified with the paragraphs H2 and H4 of the section. Inspection procedure for the initial the periodic safety appliance with the inspection shall be conducted with accordance with the procedure criteria with established for the railroad inspection plan. At the minimum of these procedures or criteria shall include 1. Complete visual inspection for the entire welded surface with any safety appliance with the bracket support identified in paragraph E of the section. The visual inspection shall occur with a complete removal of any of the dirt and grease and rust of any foreign material with the welded portion of the individual safety appliance with the bracket support. Removal of the paint is not required. The railroad shall disassemble the equipment necessary to permit the visual inspection for the involved with the weld and materials necessary to conduct the complete inspection must be made available to the inspection personnel throughout the inspection process. This includes unlimited such for the items such as mirrors, magnifying glass for the other locations, specifically inspection aids for the remote view, adding the possessing equivalent sensitivity as permissible to restricted areas. Any weld found with defective defined in the paragraph D of the section during the initial periodic safety applying for the inspection shall be inspected by either the certified welding inspector identified within paragraph H2 and through H5 of the section welding the material of the engineering possessing of the professional engineer and license for the final determination. No car with a defect of the welding safety applying for this or an attachment may continue until its use in the final determination existing of the defect that made for the possible personnel identified in the paragraph. A welding finally determined to contain the defect they able to prepare in accordance with the statute 238.17e with the prepare with accordance with the remedial action criteria contained in the paragraph J of the section. J. Remedial action. Unless the defect of the welding condition is known has been caused by crash damage, the railroad shall be conducted with the failure in engineering analysis. Any weld identified with paragraph E of the section determined to have the break or crack in each of the during initial periodic safety applying with inspection, while the others served and determined that the break of the crack as a result of the crash damage or the improper construction and inadequate design based on the result of analysis of the repair and some involved with the safety applying with the bracket support shall be handled as follows. 1. A defective weld to crash the damage impact with the safety appliance outside force during the surface of the accidents. Improper construction weld did not conform to the engineered design. It shall be reattached with either mechanically or fastened to the safety appliance with the safety appliance bracket to support the equipment the welding safety applying with the bracket support with the equipment demand with at least for the strong enough for the original design, at least twice the strength of the bolted mechanically attachment, whichever is greater the welding is used to repair the damaged appliance bracket in support of the following requirements shall be met. The repair shall be conducted in accordance with the welding process that contained the APTA standard SSSC and S02003 with the standard passenger rail vehicle structure repair with the September 2003 ultimate procedure approved by the FRA pursuant to 238.21. The Director of the Federal Register approved the incorporated reference of the APTA standards SSC and S02003 with the September 2003 standard for the passenger rail vehicle structural repair within the section of accordance with the Title 5 U.S. Code 552A and the Title 1 CFR Part 51. You must obtain the copy of the incorporated structure of the American Standing Public Transportation Association, 1666 Kennedy Street, Washington, D.C. 20006. We may inspect the copy of the incorporated stamp of the Federal Railroad Administration docket clerk, 1200 New Jersey, Southeast Washington, D.C. 20590, but the National Archives Records Association Administration, and for the information available is called 202-740-0630. The qualified individual under paragraph H of the section shall inspect the weld and ensure the free of any of the cracks and fractures prior to the equipment being placed in service. 3. The welded safety appliance with the bracket of support shall receive the periodic safety appliance inspection pursuant to the requirements contained in the paragraph G through I of the section. 4. The record of the welded repair pursuant to the requirements of paragraph K of the section shall be maintained by the railroad. 2. The defective weld and due to the inadequate design and unanticipated stress or load during services shall be handled in accordance with the following. 1. The railroad must immediately with the FRA associated administrator with writing to discover the defective weld and inadequate design and admit all the safety appliance with the safety appliance bracket to support the reattachment of the equipment and mechanically fastening the safety appliance or safety appliances bracket support with the equipment unless each of the mechanically is fastened and practically with the design equipment. The railroad shall develop and comply with a written plan with the submit with the FRA associated administrative safety detailing schedule with all passenger equipment the safety of the car with the similar welding safety appliance with the bracket to support to have involved the safety appliance bracket support mechanically fastened with the equipment. If the railroad determines if the design equipment makes it impractical mechanically fasten the safety appliance or the safety appliance bracket to support with the equipment, then the railroad shall submit with the FRA with a special approval with the alternative compliance pursuant to statute 238.21. Such requests shall explain the necessity of any of the release software that shall contain the appropriate data for the analyzing support determination for the alternative method attachment provides at least equivalent level of safety records. Railroads shall maintain the written or electronic record of the inspection and repair of the welded safety appliance brackets supporting any of the equipment identified in the paragraph E of the section of the record shall be made available to the FRA upon request. The name of these records shall include the following training certification records any of the person for performing any of the inspection repairs required for the inspection the day of the time location identified with the person performing the initial periodic safety appliance for the inspection each of the plates of equipment identified in paragraph E of the section. This includes the identification of The person making any final determination of the existing defect within paragraph 1 of the 5 of this section, record of the passenger equipment was found with the safety appliance welding defect either during the initial periodic states applying for the inspection, while the equipment in service with the record should also identify the cause of the crack or the fracture, the date and the time, location, identification of the person making the repair, and the nature of the repair of the main welded safety appliance bracket and support identified in paragraph E of this section. Alright, 238, 230, safety appliances, new equipment. Shit. It goes on and on. Alright, 238, 230, safety appliance, new equipment. Applicability section applied with the passenger equipment placed with its service with January 1st, 2007. The welded safety appliances, except for the provided in section, all the passenger equipment placed in the service with after January 1st, 2007. The equipment safety appliance required with the manual of the application provision, part 231, chapter to the attached to the mechanical fastener, the bolt and rivet to screw that shall have the safety appliance for any bracket to some of the support necessary with the attached safety appliance for the piece for the equipment, mechanically fasten the piece for the equipment. Safety appliance bracket that supports the conserve the part of the car body. Safety appliance bracket that supports both conservative part of the car body will not be required with mechanically fastened to the piece for the passenger equipment if in the following area equipment. The bracket support is welded in the surface of the equipment value with a minimum of 3/16 of an inch steel to structurally reinforce, provided the equivalent strength of the bridge of the 3/16 inch steel of the area of the weld of the sufficient inch of the minimum welded strength based on the yield of the 3 times the strength of the number of the SAE grade 2 of the 1.5 inch diameter bolt that would be required at each attachment. 3. The except for the exempt over the required attachment safety appliance, the weld continue for the around the parameter of the surface of the bracket to support the attachment made with the fillet weld is at least for the 3/16 of an inch inside of the weld is designed with the infinite fatigue life of the application that will be placed. The weld is performed in accordance with the welding procedure with the quality control certain the control procedure the contain the current American Welding Society standard with the Canadian Welding Bureau, the standard with the equivalent national and international recognized welding standards. 7. The welding performed in the individual process of qualification certified by the current AWS or CWE standards or equivalent in national and international was recognized welding qualification standard. 8. Welding is inspected with an individual qualified to determine whether allowed the condition that identified the paragraph B11 and B17 through B17. This section would also be met prior to the equipment placed in the service of the written electronic record of the inspection record paragraph in B17. This section shall be retained with the railroad operating equipment that shall be provided with the FRA upon request of the record shall include the date and time, location, identification of the personnel performing the inspection, qualification person performing the inspection. Direct welding, safety applied with the parents' equipment, passenger equipment, the safety applied with the directly attached with the equipment, the welding, and now mechanical fastening any kind that will be placed in the service only if the railroad meets the following. The railroad submit the written list for the effort identified E for the piece of the new passenger equipment equipped with the welded safety applied with the described in paragraph B for the B2 of this section and provide the description of the specific safety applied with the railroad provided the details basically why the design of the vehicle, the placement and safety appliance requirements, the safety appliance may be directly welded to the equipment. 3. The involved safety appliance touch of equipment and inspect for the handle pursuant to the requirements contained in the statute 238, 229, to 8, G through K. Alright, how there's welded safety appliance with the safety appliance with the brackets and support. The acceptance of safety appliance with the bracket supports identified in paragraph D1 of the safety appliance with the bracket support for the passenger equipment that shall not be welded onto the car body unless they are designed to equivalent make the impractical mechanical leads fastening the safety appliance impossible to meet the condition to conserve the bracket and support for the car body contained with the paragraph B1 of the section prior to placing the passenger piece of the passenger equipment in service as well. The safety appliance with the bracket support for the described in paragraph B. This paragraph of the railroad shall be submitted to the documentation of the FRA. The FRA reviewed and approval containing all the following information. It didn't want to identify the equipment number, the type of the series of the operating of the railroad, other pertinent data identification from the safety appliance, the bracket support, non-mechanically fastened equipment not considered part of the car body zone of the paragraph B1 seconds and 3. The detailed analysis described the necessity of the attachment of the safety appliance bracket to support and equipment beams with the other mean mechanical fastenings. 4. The detailed analysis of the description and inability to make the bracket to support the part of the car body provided with the paragraph B1 of the section 5. The copy of the description of the consensus of the appropriate industry standard to use to ensure the effectiveness of the strength and attachment. 6. The inspection and repair of the passenger of the equipment as well as the safety appliance with the welded safety appliance bracket support will be considered defective and shall be handled in accordance with the statute 238.17e with any part of the portion of the weld is defective defined in the statute 238.29d with appropriate civil penalties improperly using hauling a piece of equipment, defective welding, safety appliance for the brackets, report the draft for the section SF, the pursuant the penalty schedule contained in Appendix A of the Part 231 Chapter on the appropriate defective of the code contained with the here and there. Safety appliance for the brackets, support of the FRA pursuant to the paragraph B3 of the section shall be inspected to handle the accordance with the requirements contained in Statute 238, 229, A through K. And the prepared safety appliance for bracket support, but they considered to be part of the car body with the paragraph of the B1 of the section shall be conducted in accordance with the APTA standard with the SSC and S 2003 with the standard with the passenger vehicle struck for the repair with the 2003, but the alternate procedure for the approval of the FRA pursuant to the Statute 238, 221 to show ensure the repair of the meet the requirements contained in the paragraph B11 through B17 of the section of the directive for the Federal Register of the proof of the incorporated reference to the APTA standard with the SSNC and S 02003 with the separate term of 2003. Structural railroad passenger rail vehicle, the structural rail repair with the section that according to the Title 5 of the U.S. Code 552A with the Title 1 CFR Part 51, we may obtain with a copy incorporated with the train for the American Public Transportation 166 K Street, Washington, D.C. You may inspect the incorporated the same with the Federal Railroad docket with the administrative and docket clerk with the 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. 20590 with the National Archives Records Administrative for the information available to the material of the NARA 20274160330 with passenger car with a special construct for the railroad recognized for the representative of the bill submitted with the request of special approval with the alternative of the complying with the statute 23821 the relating safety applying with the arrangement of the passenger car with the country with the car with special construction 23118 with the chapter in such petition that may be in the form of any industry-wide stand with the middle of the city shall be identified the type of the car with the shall be changed would be the applicable as nearly possible may be for the design of the equipment and ensure with the stand provides the same with the complying with the handhold size still steps hand with the parking brake for the running of the boards and other stages, applying with this as required with the means for the equipment the nearest approximately type identified in the Part 231 with the chapter comply with all statutory requirements of the relating to safety applying with the contained in Title 49 U.S. Code 20301 or 20302, specifically address the number, the dimensions, location for the manner of the application of each of the safety applying for the name, the standard, provide the specific analysis regarding why and how the standard was developed, and specifically discuss the need of the benefit of the safety appliance arrangement contained with the standards inside the drawings and sketches to other visual aids that provide. Alright, hold on. Okay, I lost my place, but we're going to start at D. Passenger car, special construction railroad recognized representative of the may submit the request of the special approval of the alternative compliance with Part 23821 relating to safety applying for the arrangement of the passenger car considered for the car special construction under the statute 23118 of the chapter and such petition shall be informed of an industry-wide standard, the minimum shall be identified the type of the car with the standard would be application of the nearest possible base for the design equipment, the ensure the standard provides the same components for the high and hold still subs, the ladders, the hand and parking brakes, the running boards, and other system safety appliances as required of the people of equipment necessary for maximum the type of the already identified in Part 231 if staff to comply with all the statutory requirements relating to safety applying with contained in Title 49 U.S. Code 20301 and 20302, specifically addressed of the name, number of the date, and the dimension and the location and the manner of the application. Each of the safety appliances contained with the standard provides specific analysis regarding why and how the standard was developed and specifically discuss the need and benefits of safety appliance arrangement contained in the standard, include the drawing sketches of the other visual aids that provide with the detailed information relating to the design and location, the placement and attachment of the safety appliance, demonstrate the ergonomic situation of proposed arrangement in normal use, and any industry standard approved pursuant to the statute 23821 will be enforced against any of the person violates the provision approved the standard with the cause of the violation of any such provision. Civil penalties will be assessed under Part 231 of the chapter applicable to the effective code contained in Appendix A of the Part 231 chapter. 238-231 braking system, except for the otherwise provided in the section on and after September 9, 1999, following requirements apply to all the passenger equipment and passenger train. The passenger train's primary brake position capable of stopping the train with the service application for the maximum authorized operating speed within the signal space for the existence of the track over the train is operated with the practical design of the passenger equipment ordinance after September 8, 2000, placed for the airship for the first time down and after September 9, shall not require the inspector to place himself under and between the component of the equipment observe the brake actually waiting the relief of the passenger equipment that are not designed in the manner shall be the equipment that handle in accordance with one of the following. Each of the equipped with piston trouble indicated to define the statute 238.5 of the device of the similar design inspected with the requirements contained in the 238-313J with equipped with the brake indicator to define the 238-5 design with the pressure sensor with the located and the place and the location when there's nothing in the way interfere with the airflow with the brakes only and inspect with the pursuant to the requirements of pursuant and contain the statute 238-313J. The passenger equipment shall be provided with the emergency brake application feature prescribed reduced an irretrievable stop using the brake rate with the consistent with the prevailing adhesion passenger safety brake system. Their thermal capacity to enter emergency brake of the application shall be available at any time and any time shall be initiated with the unintentionally brake past parting the train. Passenger train brake system will respond to the intent of the signal of the train braking control line, but the control line shall be designed with the failure of the brake if the control line will cover the brake to apply with the result of the defect of the default of the control lines meet with the requirements of introduction of alcohol or the chemicals air brake system. The passenger equipment is prohibited. The operation of the railroad shall require the design and operation of the brake system result of the wheel for the free condemning correct. D. This brake shall be designed and operated to provide the surface temperature with no greater than say the operation of the temperature presented by the disc manufacturer verify the testing of the previous surfaces. Hand brakes and parking brakes. 1. Except with H. Hand brakes and parking brakes. Except with the locomotive ordered with the before September 8, 2000, with the place in the surface of the first time placed before the September 9, 2002. Except with the multiple unit locomotives, all locomotives shall be equipped with the hand brake and braking parking brakes. 1. Be applied with the activated by hand. Be released by hand. Hold the loaded unit with the maximum grade anticipated with the operating railroads. Except with the provided with the car locomotives addressed in paragraph H1 of the section. All other passenger equipment included multiple unit locomotives shall be equipped with a handbrake that is meets the requirements of the handbrake contained in the part 231 of the chapter can be applied or activated by hand, released by hand, or hold the loaded unit with the maximum grade anticipated operating railroad. Operating railroad. Except for the multiple unit locomotive is equipped with a hand and parking brake as well with the parts of the connection shall be inspected with necessary repairs made often as necessary repairs so often as the service requires not less than the frequency every 368 days of the date of the last inspection shall be either entered in the form FRA 618049A suitably sensible to tag and equipment to maintain the electronically provided with the FRA access with the recorder on the common record of the train. Air brake shall not be dependent upon the hold of its unintended equipment, including the locomotive, the car with the train, whether the locomotive, the trash, for the purpose of the section unintended equipment. It means the equipment left standing unmanned in such a manner that the brake system of the equipment cannot be readily with the control of the qualified person. Unintended equipment shall be secured in accordance with the following requirements. A sufficient number of the hand brakes is applied with the equipment. The railroad shall develop and implement the process of the procedure, verify the apply with the hand brake, and the hand brakes is sufficient to hold the equipment, the air brake, the air brakes, except with the equipment connected with the source of the compressed air of the locomotive, the ground air source of the prior to leaving the equipment is unintended with the brake pipe shall reduce to zero with or at a rate no less than the surface rate reduction. The minimum of the hand brake of the parking brake shall be fully applied with at least one locomotive vehicle and the unintended locomotive condition for the train or railroad shall develop and adopt and comply with the procedure securing the unintended locomotive required to have a hand or a parking brake applied with the locomotive is not equipped with the operative the hand brake or parking brake. 5. A railroad should adopt and comply with the instructions to adjust the throttle position staff at the reverse level of the position with the generator field switch staff at the independent brake position with the isolation switch position with the automatic brake valve switch and the function equivalent with these items the unintended locomotive procedure instructions shall be taken into account with the weather condition as relate the throttle position reverse handle 6. The hand brake parking brakes applied with the unintended equipment that shall not be released until the air brake system is properly charged. The passenger car shall be equipped with the main applied with the emergency brake with accessible to passenger located in the vestibule of the passenger compartment. The emergency brake shall be clearly identified at marks J. The locomotive is ordered with the after September 8, 2000 and played for the service for the first time September 9, 2002 with equipped with the lining of the brakes for the shall be designed the blending of the friction of the dynamic brakes to obtain the correct retarded forces and automatic less power with the failure with the dynamic brakes does not result exceeding an allowable stopping distance. The friction brake alone with the adequate safety stop of the train under all the operation conditions. The operation of the friction brake does not result with the thermodynamic image of the wheel of the disc rotor surface of the temperature exceeding the manufacturer recommendation. For the new design braking system, the design process shall include the commuter mileage only dynometer compliance with the paragraphs F through J with the section over the range of the equipment, the operating speed, the new simulation of the required prior to the implementation change with the operation parameter. The locomotives ordered down and after September 8, 2000 placed in the service the first time on the and or after September 9, 2002 should be equipped with the effective air cooler drive to provide with the air to be reserved at the dew point on nice 10 degrees Fahrenheit below ambient temperature when the passenger of the train is operated with either direct or graduate release. All the cars of the train consist of the setup of the same operation mode. The up to 2 cars are operated with the direct release mode, with the rest of the cars of the trains are operated with the gradual release mode, provided that the cars are operated with the direct release mode, or all to the rear of the train consists. And before adjusting piston treble, the working with the brake ring, the cutout with the cock with the brake pipe must be closed with the air reserved for the must be avoided with the compressed air with the cutout cock provided with the brake cylinder with the pipes. These cutout cocks may be too close with the air reserves need not to be avoided with all compressed air. All passenger trains that wish for the part apply for to comply with the requirements covering the use of the two-way and train device contained in Part 232 of this chapter. Alright, 238, 233, interior fittings and so forth. Each seat of the passenger car shall be securely fastened with the cars with that stand individually applied with acceleration 4G, acting with the lateral direction 4G, acting with the upper vertical direction, dead weight with the seats and held in tandem. Have an attachment to the car with the body with the ultimate strength of the cable, resulting simultaneously with the longitudinal in air force with the 8Gs acting with the most of the mass of the seat load associated with the impact of the seat back with the unrestrained 95 percentile adult male initially seated behind the seat when they floor with which for the seat with the attachment to accelerate the triangular crash poles having the peak of the 8G of the duration, 250 milliseconds. The overhead storage rack with the passenger car shall provide longitudinal lateral strength. So of the articles overhead storage rack shall be attached with the car body with sufficient strength to resist velocity of the following individual apply with the acceleration and the mass of the luggage so determined by the railroad. Longitudinal 4 degrees, vertical 4 degrees, 4Gs, lateral 4Gs. Other interior fittings of the passenger car shall be attached with the car body with the sufficient strength to withstand the following individual apply with the acceleration action on the mass of the fitting of the longitudinal for 8Gs, vertical 4Gs, lateral 4Gs. To the extent possible, all the interior fittings of the passenger except for the seat shall be recessed and flush mounted. Each sharp edge of the corner of the locomotive cab, the marcher shall be either avoided and padded with mitigated with the consequence for the impact with the surface of the locomotive required for the construction of the corner of the subpart D. Part 229 of the chapter shall have the cap seat attachment complying with the statute 229.2 for the chapter and live with the following requirements of the paragraph that each of the with the crew member regularly assigned to the occupy the cab of the locomotive, each with the floor mounted seat with the cab shall secure with the car body. The attachment having the ultimate strength with the capable of withstanding blows due to the following individual applied acceleration active when combined with the mass of the seat with the 95% of the adult male occupy it. Longitudinal 8 G's, lateral 4 G's, vertical 4 G's. If the purpose is shown with the compliant with the requirements of the section of the strength of the seat attachment to demonstrate the sled of the testing the seat of the strength of the seat attachment to the sled that you the such testing must represent the actual seat structure in the seat attachment of the vehicle subject to the requirements of the section attachment strength with any other interior fitting is to be demonstrated through the sled testing for the purpose of showing compliance with the requirements of the section. Such testing shall be conducted in a similar manner. 238, 235 reserve, 238, 237 automated monitoring. Alright, we got one more page to read, alright. 238, 237 automated monitoring, except for the further specified in paragraph and after November 8, 1999, working alerter and the dead man control should be provided with the controlling of the locomotive, each with the passenger train with the operating of the other, the cab signal, automatic train control, the automatic train stop train with the control locomotive is ordered after the September 8, 2000, placed in service for the first time after the September 9, 2002, with the working alerter shall provide alert dead man with control time when they shall be set with the operating of the railroad, taking into consideration maximum train speed capable of signal system of the railroad shall document the base of the anything alert with the dead man control time and the making the documentation available to the FRA with upon request. If the train operator does not respond to the alert, maintain proper contact with the dead man control, it shall initiate the penalty break application of the following procedure apply with the alert dead man with control failed with the route with the cause of the locomotive to be non-compliant with the paragraph A11. The second person qualified to signal if the train to apply with the emergency brakes shall be stationed when the locomotive cab the engineer shall be consistent with the communication of the second crew member to train or reach the next terminal. 2.1 the tag shall be promptly displayed with the locomotive cab and indicated with the alert dead man with the control of the device for the such device repaired when the train reaches the terminal. Locomotive undergoes the next calendar day inspection whichever occurs first. The alerter the dead man control shall be repaired with the locomotive shall be removed as for the control locomotive over the train. Figure 1 subpart C of the part 238 direction over the corner post for the forward end of the cab car with the multiple unit utilizing low level passenger boarding on non-operating side of the cab end. Alright, you have your corner post behind step well, engineer stand, corner post, and corner post at the step well. Subpart D, inspection, testing, maintenance requirements for the Tier 1 passenger equipment.